my name is Lauren, and in this video you'll be able to see all the different artists that I've looked at and my views on them. Throughout this video you'll be able to see the final outcomes of what I intend to produce for this project. For this project I'm going to produce an album. Along with this album I will promote it. I'll promote this album by creating a website, a DVD, an advert, posters. I will also be creating the album itself. Before I can make this album, I need to research different artists such as art movements and different artists themselves. I'll be looking at artists such as Neville Brody, Andy Warhol, Roy Lichtenstein, etc. I will focus my research on different types of pop art, as this is something that I'm very interested in after researching different types of art movements. The bright colours and loudness of the design really stood out to me, and I think that in the way of advertisement this is something that is very important. I have chosen two styles of art to look at. The first is pop art and the second was Neville Brody's work in typography. Pop art is an art movement that came around in the 1950s. It started off in Britain, which led to the US in the later 1950s. It developed primarily in the United States and Britain. Pop art is now used for comic books and types of advertising. It is a type of graphic design. I really like the way that the bold colours are used to stand out. The backlines highlight all of the main features of pop art. Andy Warhol was an American painter and filmmaker. He was a leading figure of the art movement pop art. Andy Warhol had a tough time through school due to bullying. This led him to be a workaholic. Andy Warhol used a range of techniques in his work. One of these techniques was silk screening. This is shown in one of his pieces of work called 8 Elvises in 1963. I would like to use this technique in some of my work. I will experiment with it to see what it's like and how I feel about it. I could take this work into Photoshop and edit it a bit. I also like the idea of 8 Elvises in the way that he has lined up the 8 Elvises and overlapping them a bit. I would like to use this in one of my album designs. I think this is rather creative. Andy Warhol. You can find more information about Andy Warhol and what I intend to produce in my folder. Roy Lichtenstein was born in New York City. His work came around about the same time as Andy Warhol's in the 1960s. Roy concentrated on comic book images. I really like the way that he outlined every design with black thick lines. This made all the words and images and expressions stand out a lot more than if they did not have black lines. On the characters that Roy had produced, the facial expressions and emotions stand out very clearly. I think this is due to the minimal amount of colour that he used in each design and the fact that he didn't go into much detail and just put the main pieces on each character. For example, their smile, their eyes and their nose. This is Roy Lichtenstein. Examples of his work are like this. Richard Hamilton had a completely different approach to pop art than Andy Warhol and Roy Lichtenstein. I think this is because he used a combination of photography and painting artwork to produce his final piece. Some of Richard Hamilton's work is a lot more recent than Andy Warhol's and Roy Lichtenstein's. This is because he has only recently passed away. Unlike Warhol and Lichtenstein, Richard Hamilton did not use backlines to outline his work, as you can see here. Again, James Rosenquist had a different approach to pop art than Andy Warhol and Roy Lichtenstein. Some of the pieces of work that he produced I found really interesting, the way that he combined two images together and sort of combined them together, as you can see here. You can still make out the two images, so in this piece I can see that it is a face and some sort of plant or something in the background. I think this is really different and unique. I really like the way that he uses really bright, vibrant colours to make his images stand out from all others. My favourite piece of work that he produced was in 1961. This was a piece called Hey, Let's Go for a Ride. This looked like a bottle of wine maybe, or beer. Next to this was an image of a girl's face. I think the title represents the image really well, because it obviously, well, from what I can tell, that it's about hey, let's go wild, let's go for a ride, let's have a bit of fun. This piece I think is really creative because it doesn't have the whole image of the girl's head in it, and it doesn't have the whole image of whatever the girl is drinking. It just captures the nose, half the mouth and half of the eyes, and only the top of the bottle. This allows your imagination to sort of image whatever you want of what this person looks like or whatever they're drinking. Here are some more examples of his work. These can be found in my folder. After looking at a range of different pop artists, I went on to creating my own sort of pop art. To do this, I just created a few little posters to get an idea and a feel for the type of art movement. To start off with, I produced some of my own fonts. To do this, I used a different range of pencils, paints, crayons, chalk. I used another technique of fonts by cutting out some letters that I liked in newspapers and sticking them onto a piece of paper to spell out words. From this, I scanned it into the computer and on Photoshop edited them to create my own sort of design using this font in different colours, changing the boldness of the letters and things. And these are the examples of what I came up with. I also tried silk screening. I created an eye that you will be able to find in my folder. I also did some lino cutting, and to do this I created a rose. Moving on from the art movement pop art, I also looked at typography. Typography is completely different to pop art, as this is images made out of words. Neville Brody was born on the 23rd of April 1957 in London. Neville is an English graphic designer, typographer and art director. Neville was best known for his work on magazines, most common The Face. The magazine transformed the way in which designers and readers approach typography and layout. In addition to his magazine work, he designed record covers. He started to design these in the 1970s. This was after he graduated and started off by designing record covers of music punk. Neville Brody was always said to be too experimental. Personally, no one can ever be too experimental, as if this was, then we would never find out anything new. Typography wasn't just about putting words in a format to make a picture. It was also about choosing the right size of font, the right colour, the right style, and the way that you position it. This is some examples of Neville Brody's typography. As you can see, some of the words overlap and some of them don't. From this, I looked at my own styles of font to get a rough idea of fonts that I could use on my album design. To back up this video, you can find an essay in my folder that I have written concluding everything that I have found out and what I would like to do for this project in my folder. Thank you for watching. These are two very typical objects that you would find in pop art.